In this video, I'm going to review some people's YouTube channels and Twitch channels and give them some general advice on the look and feel, maybe some tech tips. You're probably going to see a bunch of chess streamers because I do work for a chess company, and so, but the advice is still probably going to be useful to you, regardless of what you do, because you may learn something that will apply for your channel and your content as well. So here we go. If you're new here, my name is Aaron, and I am a professional esports broadcast producer, and I like to offer tips from time to time to people using my YouTube channel on how to improve their streams or their recordings using little tricks in OBS. So click subscribe, activate the notifications so that you know when I post something new. All right, so let's get started. I sent out a tweet the other day asking for people to submit a link to their VOD or their YouTube video or whatever, and we're just gonna take a look and offer some constructive, positive advice. Chess Society. The video is in Italian, but the structure of it should be roughly understandable. Great idea. Here we go. And YouTube time.
Ok, avete appena creato un account su chess.com oppure
Wow.
dopo la sigla.
Awesome. This is great. You've told them what the video is going to be about, then you introduce yourself. Wow. Yeah, YouTube game is strong. Awesome transition. Okay, cool. So you're showing people, you know, how to manipulate the interface of the website. I do tend to like, however, that if somebody is in the video and they're facing like left or right, that they're facing towards the content rather than away from it or towards the edge. Your content is what you're doing on screen, and so maybe your camera is better placed over here where you're going to be facing towards it. Or, you know, if you really like being here, then you could do like a horizontal flip so that you're facing that way. Although people don't like doing horizontal flips because it actually sort of changes the way that your real face looks, and then you don't really look like yourself. But that's just something to think about. I really like how you're cutting in and out, zooming into the thing that's the focus, and then coming back. Wow. I love your thumbnails too. Dang, son. Really nice. I'm honestly at a loss for words. That was pretty fantastic. I mean, I'm sorry that I only had maybe like one thing to say about it, but that's a good thing. Up next is Mebot with a YouTube video. Okay. Little intro music and some transitions. Wow, this is actually a whole playlist of videos. All right, 45 seconds might be a little too long for your intro, but I like it. So we've got some old photos. All right, I'll make this a little bit bigger and then we'll kind of dive in. So one thing that I noticed is that you've got your logo here, but it seems to get cut off at the bottom of the video player. So you may want to look at that next time you are setting up to do your next video. The other thing I would say is that there's a lot of extra space here that maybe could be better utilized. I tend to like to use as much of my footprint as I can get. Perhaps the board itself could just be a little bit larger, and then it might fill more of this space in here. Another thing I could say is that if you want to attract people who aren't necessarily chess players, but might be able to enjoy this video for the first time, they might not know that this player here is the player playing with the white pieces just because they're the one oriented at the bottom. We kind of know that as chess people, but people new to the game might not. So it could be cool to put a like a white king symbol here and a black king symbol there, so that you know for sure who's playing what. Maybe this can also find its way into the template somehow as well. Like if you created a little bit more space up here you could put that information in the video as well as it just being in the description. And then, you know, you've got your first player here and your second player there like you do. But I have to say, I really do like the simplicity of this. You're talking about a game between these two players, and our focus is on listening to you and seeing you demonstrate things on the board and explain the game to us. So I don't think there need to be a lot of bells and whistles. I think you're really doing something great here. This is definitely an example of when less is more. Niranjan, who has a chess YouTube channel.
The Chessophile Show.
All right, cool looking graphics so far.
8 questions and then 2.
Okay, here we go. We got some people on camera.
We have 4 lifelines, as I mentioned.
Okay.
Just Google it, like it's
The thing I can tell right off the bat that I like about this is it's got a lot of personality.
So we are now letting
The font,
Soumya use the lifeline,
background.
ask Google for help.
I like the little designs around the webcams. We'll pause here and I'll mention just a couple things that stand out. The first thing is, you know, I can tell that you're using Zoom because I see the little yellow bar here, and that happens when the person in your Zoom call is talking. Then they get that like yellow border around them. Just try to crop that out in OBS, cut down into it until it goes away, right? And then we're not seeing this yellow light sort of going on and off when they do or don't speak. Make sure that you also cut out any of like the excess black from that Zoom call. One thing that you can do is a trick in OBS that I can show you about how to size multiple elements to be about the same dimensions and then place them. So check this out. All right, so I scrolled ahead into your video a little bit to find a screenshot that I could take of it that would help me to demonstrate a technique. So I'm going to Photoshop out those two people real quick. And then I'm gonna bring them in as separate crops from your Zoom call like you would. And we're gonna get them to be the same size as this one on the right that let's pretend is the right size that you want. So what I like to do is pick an edge, like the top edge, and line them up right on top of each other. And then grab a point and just scale up until the bottom edge hits that bottom edge. And now we know we have about the same height. All right, let's go to this edge, and then we need to make it larger, right? To reach the other edge, so let's do that. Now we've got the right width, but we become too tall. And then that's where you go ahead and just crop from somewhere. So hold the Alt key and crop, and now you should be the same size all the way around. And then to make sure that you're exactly parallel, line up those top edges again, and then just hold the arrow key on your keyboard to slide over. Because when you try to drag it with your mouse, you know, you'll land a little high or a little low or whatever. And the arrow keys are really great for this kind of fine tuning. Otherwise, I really love this. I love your aesthetic. You really do pay a lot of attention to making this look like a lot of fun. It seems like you have great guests and you're having a great time. So keep it up. This is awesome. I know this fella. This is Grandmaster Jesse Cry. Ooh, I love the logo. Okay. Introduction video, cool. I guess I'll just pick one. Middle game problems. All right. Not sure if this is a if this was a live stream that was then uploaded to YouTube or not. All right, so a few things for me would be, one thing that I like to do is align the edges of things with the edges of other things. So, you know, you've got the edge of your webcam here and here. So maybe let's restrict all of this information to also live in a space that kind of aligns with the max width that you've got of your webcam here. So perhaps all of this stuff could get scaled a little tiny bit. We'll still be able to read it, but then you have this like nice harmony of the top edge of the chessboard aligning with the top edge of the information and the side edges matching with that as well. I also noticed that the background of the chess.com interface here is a slightly lighter gray than the gray in here and then the gray of the background itself. If you check out my video on how to use the color key filters in OBS, I'll put the link in the description below, you can blend out some of these colors from the other parts that you're capturing so that they all have the same background as whatever the background is in your streaming template. And then maybe you can get creative with the actual background itself. You know, pick a different solid color or an abstract textured background. The other thing I would say is if these are being produced specifically for this Chess Dojo channel, then you would want to replace all of these tags with the different social media accounts for Chess Dojo. That goes back to knowing whether you're going to produce this content specifically for the YouTube channel versus if you're streaming it and then just uploading it later. And then maybe there's space that you can reserve here for the this title. Set it up there, center it on top of your webcam, and then that'll be a nice place for it. All right, Jesse, I gave you a couple tips. Now you owe me a Spindrift. Hashtag not sponsored. Say Chess says, feel free to give some feedback on my channel. Okay, let's pick a video here. Let's see. Ooh, I really like this thumbnail. Look at that. That's very cool. Climbing the rapid ladder on Lead Chess. Okay. Let's go to 147 rating points. OTB postmortem.
Hi and welcome to this video. My name is Martin.
I want to go somewhere different with this title. I know it's aligned, you know, sort of centered from the left and right edges, but maybe a couple options are that you scooch this over and then you sort of confine it within these two edges here, or you can move it over here and put it underneath your webcam or above it and then save the underneath part for, you know, your name or other social media channels or pretty much any information that you want. And if you think you're going to find yourself doing more videos called Join the Road to 2000, then consider adding some way for us to know why this video is different from the other one, but within that series. So it could be an episode number like episode 3, or it could be the date, or a fun title that relates to the game that you are about to review. The Big Fish That Got Away. Moves only a mother could love. Playing this bad never felt so good. Whatever you do, it might be useful to establish this as part of a series of videos, and then you could even put them in a specific playlist called The Road to 2000 FIDE. But I think the visuals are pretty good. I like the background. I like the font choice and your title. And you might want to check out my video on improving the quality of your webcam in OBS to see if you can squeeze out any extra detail in your webcam. And then I do notice that sometimes when you're resting your elbow on your desk while you're recording and you change positions, the webcam is mounted on the desk and it kind of vibrates a little bit up and down. I mean, mine does it too if I do that, right? So either try to be more aware of that and sort of isolate your body from the desk so that you don't jostle the camera while you're recording, or you could look into some kind of vibration isolating mount for the camera so that you don't have to be too conscious about what you're doing. You know that your camera is isolated and then it's gonna stay nice and stable. I personally really like these coffee house style thumbnails that you've got going on here. I think these are fantastic. And then I kind of wish that all of the other ones had that same style, right? Because visually, if they were all more consistent, then I come onto your page and I go, this guy really is really taking this seriously. He's probably got really good content. And it also tells me about your personality more so than, you know, other ones like where this is maybe just a screenshot of something and this looks like a screenshot from the actual footage itself as well. All right, I like it. Keep it up. All right, we're gonna call that part 1 of a series of videos where I review your stuff. If you enjoyed it, please click subscribe, please. I'm kidding. Only if you enjoyed it, click subscribe. You can also click the like button if it was actually useful. Don't forget I have a whole playlist of how-to videos on streaming stuff and OBS and life. And watch the next video when it comes out. Bye.
What?
What? What?